So today we're going to be making hardcore kicks. This method works in Ableton. It's a really straightforward method. It's probably the easiest way to get tuned hardcore kicks without having to like open up Serum and make your own fucking, you know, this and that. Very simple, very straightforward, and let's just get into it. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up DS Kick. DS Kick, I think, should be free with most versions of Ableton. It should come with most versions of Ableton, and all it is it's basically like a little kick generator, and you can control the decay, you can control the pitch, you can add some like overdrive, you can add a little click, you can control the envelope of the transient. It's pretty useful, but the most important thing for this type of music or these types of kicks is you can pitch the kick to whatever note, and it'll tell you what note it's at. So if you have like a track in F minor and you need to make a kick for that track, you can pitch the kick to that track. So then when you're done with all this processing, you know exactly what the note of the kick is going to be. So yeah, I'll show you what this sounds like by itself, and then we'll get into the method. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. It's not, the most complex and in-depth kick generator on planet Earth, but it'll give you a sound that you can pitch, and that's the most important part because all the juicy stuff comes from the processing. So let's take a look here. I'm not going to go step by step because this process is more of like an iterative process than a step-by-step, okay, you're finished. But the main idea is what you're going to want to do is throw down a saturator, and then or distortion or overdrive or whatever the hell you want. Throw down an EQ in front of it, push the drive on the saturator a little bit, and then as this is playing, looping, you're going to want to take your EQ and you're going to start boosting and cutting different frequencies until you get something that you kind of like. And then you're going to want to keep doing that over and over again, trying different presets, different distortions, different saturation algorithms, what have you. And you're going to want to do that over and over and over again until you find a sound you like. Now, for this process, I like to put a limiter on there because, smashing it into a limiter kind of makes it a little bit, makes it sound a little bit louder. And also, you're going to probably redline while you're doing this. So just a heads up. Some things you can use, some recommendations. Highly recommend not being afraid. You don't always have to go crazy with the hard or medium curve. You can get some good results just using analog clip and pushing the drive like super hard. Mess around with like a soft clipping too. You can get some cool sounds with that. Don't use amp too much because amp just totally fucks everything up. And it can end up making your kick sound flat, and you're going to have to do even more EQing after. But, having 1 or 2 amps in your chain is not, is definitely going to be good. Just, don't rely totally on amp, My first mistake was like, I got to, constantly have amp. It's the biggest distortion in Ableton. It's the harshest distortion. So, less is more, right? I recommend just sticking with the saturator for most of these. You can also use drum bus as well. Mess around with the crunch. I like to put it to, boost the transients a little bit, turn the transients knob, see what that does. And you can also add more boom if your boom starts getting lost. If you do add boom, make sure that your frequency knob is tuned to the note that your kick is tuned to, so it's all in the same key. You're not adding any more boom that's out of key with your kick. You can also use a compressor on this for interesting results. What else? Yeah. So you can also put a tuner on. I like to have it on just for peace of mind. Sometimes when you're boosting weird frequencies, this tuner will read a different note for what it's keyed into. Don't worry though, because as long as this is tuned to F, it should be F. It's just the way the algorithm works. It's like misinterpreting the information it's getting. You're probably not actually changing the key of your kick by EQing it. At least I think so. I don't know. I'm not experienced enough to know. Anyways, let's listen to what this sounds like with all this garbage on it. So you probably noticed there's that big ugly like tail, that like big ugly artifact that comes after the kick stops playing. Don't worry about that. We're gonna fix that later. But as you can see, besides that, this kick is almost usable by itself, and you could use it by itself if you wanted to. But I will show you some more stuff that you can add on top of this kick to really make it complete. Anyways, the next thing that you're after you're done with that, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to take like a little MIDI clip that's just one note like this. You're gonna want to freeze this track. Pretend we like copied that MIDI clip, and you want to paste it into an audio channel, like so. Right, I already have it down here. And when you paste it into audio, you can cut off that big ugly like artifact tail that gets left behind from all those distortions, so you don't have to worry about that. Next, you're going to want to find, I like to make a punch and a sub for my kicks, right? And to make the punch, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find, you know, some kick sample that you like. That's a cool transient. I like to use fucking this one from this fucking sample pack. Whatever. Trim it down in the sampler. You can also put it in one-shot mode. Use the pitch envelope. You can mess around with the transient that way too, to get, you know, different results. You know, you can just like shorten the transient up, boost the amount, whatever. You don't have to do that if the transient's already good enough, but you know, I like to do it just to like mess around. And then it's the same exact process, right? Just distortion, crazy EQ curves, distortion. This fucking, look at this fucking thing. This thing's like a fucking meme. Look, it's like not even on the screen. Drum bus, you know. Yeah, no, same old limiter. I have this tune like turned way the fuck down because when it plays in MIDI, it's gonna sound crazy. But trust me, once you trim it up in audio, it's gonna be good, right? But brace yourselves. It's kind of an ugly sound because there's a big ugly tail. But this is what it sounds like. Yeah, so I just like to take a moment to apologize to your ears. That was probably not pleasant, but same thing, bounce it to audio, snap it into here, and boom. Last thing you're going to want to do is you're going to make like a sub. You can take the Ableton basic subsine instrument and just do the same shit. Push it through different distortions. For this, I like to get like kind of a square wavy sound. You can use the Redux, which is like a bit crusher, to accomplish that type of sound. And just play around with it. You know, use a limiter to keep yourself from redlining. And it sounds like this. Yeah, loud as fuck. My bad. But yeah. Also, one thing to keep in mind: it's easy to like copy paste these like MIDI tracks. For this sub, just make sure you're in the note that you actually want to play, which is F. Right? This kick is going to be in F. So instead of like keeping it at C3, just pitch it down to the key that you or the note that you want it. Anyways, bounce that to audio. You freeze the track, drag the MIDI clip into here, and you start trimming shit down. Right? Go into turn off automation mode so you can use your little volume faders here, and just start assembling it. Right? So what I have the punch right here. I have like the very beginning of the transient of the original kick, just slightly trimmed down to make space for this punch. And then I have the sub coming in right around here to kind of create like this reverse bass effect. And that's basically the idea, right? So now I'm going to play this group together and show you what it sounds like. So yeah, not too shabby. You'll probably notice after we bounce these to audio, you don't have that like weird distortion tail coming in, or like creating artifacts and stuff, because it's all in audio. And yeah, once you have those done and assembled to how you like it, be careful. Like this could cause like phasing issues if you're not doing it right, and it's probably causing phasing issues in here. I just don't give a fuck. I just like how it sounds. But if you're like a fucking giga nerd about that shit, yeah, just like, you know, break out your fucking microscope and be like, oh yeah, like make sure these are in phase. You know, you can do that shit. But I don't bother because it's like, oh, it sounds cool. It sounds cool. Whatever. Group these together. Put a little tiny little baby saturator on here. Put it into mono because we don't want any stereo information. We're gonna add our own later on. And then what you're gonna want to do is create a new audio track. For X to in, put like the name of your group. Post effects in. You're gonna click this red button, solo your group, and then hit this red button, play it from the start, and it's going to record it into here. Then you're going to take that, copy paste it into a different audio track, and you can start working on it. I'm not going to do that here because I had to re-record this tutorial because it like fucked up my mic settings when I did it. But if you do it correctly, you should have this bounce to audio, and it should sound like this. So yeah, you're probably wondering what the hell are we doing? I mean, this is already finished. Well, we got to add a little bit more stereo stuff to get it wider, right? You'll notice a lot of these kicks are super wide, but you know, if you're a traditional, I don't know, if you make like techno or some shit like that, or like house, you're like, dude, the kick is always mono, like what the fuck? Don't worry, I'll show you. You'll get all the bass mono, and all the stuff that needs to be stereo is going to be stereo. Don't worry about it. Trust me. Okay. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get like an audio effect rack. This one says like Julian Earl or some shit. Don't worry. This is just a normal effect rack. And you want to create 2 chains, right? 2 with like mid-side EQ. And one of the chains is going to have like the mid unaffected, but the side, you're going to want to like completely kill the side. And what that's going to be is that's going to be your dry signal, right? That's going to be everything that's going to be in the middle. The next thing you're going to want to do is ignore all this shit for now. You're going to want to take on the second chain, kill all the mids, and then for your sides, drag it so you're getting a subcut. So there's no bass information happening in the sides. And what we're going to do is add like a super short reverb. You know, like 200 milliseconds around that. Dry wet all the way up. Add some, you know, distortion. You can put like a phaser, redux, amp. It really doesn't matter. You're just creating like this like noise that's going to be like existing in this in the sides, right? This is just what I came up with, but it can be a number of things. And then after that, you're going to want to you can use the LFO tool to sidechain it, or you can use compression sidechain, whatever you want. Or if you're going to be super, you know, crazy about it, you could do like volume automation, which I wouldn't recommend, but you could do it if you wanted to, if you want to get it like exactly how you want it. Anyways, I'll show you what the dry kick sounds like, and then I'll add the stereo information so you can hear what's going on. So yeah, you can kind of hear there's like a little bit of stereo going on, makes it a little bit wider. But you're not finished yet. You're going to want to bounce out the audio again, because if you just use it out of there, you're going to get like this type of shit going on. Wait. See that like little reverb tail? When you bounce the audio, you can just cut that out, so you don't have to worry about it. So yeah, just freeze it, drag it into another audio channel, and you should have your final kick. And it should sound like this. Pretty cool, right?